Who was in the car with you? I'm not doing nothing. I want to know. Who pulled the trigger, Brian?
We go to the gas station. I'm promising this lady that everything's gonna be alright. And she believed me, man. She believed me. But I don't understand why he killed her, though. You know what I mean? She did everything he asked, bro. Right? And he shot her in the back of the head, bro. I literally see sitting in the passenger seat looking at her hair. It was like some slow motion, bro. Like, I don't know what the do, man. She shot her again when she let her gun. Shot her inside her head, bro. You shot her while she shot her once in the back of the head, dude.
In the heart of Ohio, nestled within seemingly innocent suburban streets, a chilling series of events unfolded that would forever cast a shadow over the city of Columbus. Welcome to another Crime Daily Dose episode, where we dive into the darkest corners of human nature. Today, we revisit the chilling crimes of Brian Golsby. It's always the quiet ones, the ones you least expect. Brian Golsby, a seemingly ordinary, unassuming, even forgettable man. But behind this facade hid a menacing predator. Golsby was born and raised in Ohio. An average child, there were no early indications of the evil within him. But as we've come to learn, appearances can be deceiving. In 2017, the city of Columbus was gripped by fear. A series of robberies and attacks occurred with escalating violence, targeting lone individuals in the dead of night. The community was on edge, but the worst was yet to come. Reagan Tokes, a psychology student at Ohio State University, was full of life, with dreams and ambitions far beyond the university's lecture halls. But on the night of February 8th, 2017, Reagan didn't come home. The city held its breath, praying for her safe return. 2 days later, their worst fears were realized. Reagan's life was abruptly and brutally stolen away, and then a break in the case. Brian Golsby, a man recently released from prison, was linked to the crime through undeniable DNA evidence. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Golsby was not just responsible for Reagan's murder, but also for the terrifying string of robberies and attacks that had terrorized Columbus. To truly understand the nature of Golsby's crimes, we must rewind the clock. Golsby's criminal history began when he was just a teenager, with his first run-in with the law being for attempted robbery. As he grew older, his crimes grew more serious. Armed robbery, assault, and ultimately, in 2010, a conviction for attempted sexual assault of a pregnant woman. This led to a 6-year sentence in prison. During his time behind bars, Golsby had a record of poor behavior, yet he was still released in 2016. Despite his criminal past and the clear signs of escalating violence, Golsby was back into the unsuspecting community of Columbus. It would be only a matter of months before he would strike again, with even more devastating results. And so, as 2017 dawned, a predator walked the streets of Columbus once more, leading to the horrifying events we've already discussed. On the night of February 8th, 2017, the sweet lady Reagan finished her shift at the Bodega Cafe, a popular spot in the short North District of Columbus. Reagan left work at about 9:45 p.m. As she walked to her car, parked nearby, she had no way of knowing that she was being watched, stalked by a predator in the shadows. Golsby approached Reagan in the parking lot at gunpoint. He forced her into her own car and made her withdraw $60 from a nearby ATM. Golsby then drove Reagan to Scioto Grove Metro Park, a secluded area on the outskirts of the city. In this remote and quiet location, Golsby committed acts of unspeakable horror. He sexually assaulted Reagan. Then Golsby further dehumanized his prey. In the bitter winter cold, Golsby forced Reagan to remove her clothing and walk, naked and defenseless, through the desolate park. It was a final, degrading act of power, a cold display of the evil that had consumed him. This was when Golsby shot Reagan Tokes, extinguishing the life of a young woman full of promise and dreams.
You walked because of the sun. He didn't behind you. At first I heard a click, nothing happened, so I'm taking it down, and he gave me the safe, and it goes, pow! She falls. She lays on the ground. I'm looking on the car, and
2 days later, on February 10th, a passerby discovered Reagan's body at the park. The police worked tirelessly. Key pieces of evidence began to connect the dots: the ATM withdrawal, the GPS tracker on Reagan's car, and ultimately the undeniable DNA evidence that linked to Brian Golsby. Golsby was arrested just a week after Reagan's murder. He was charged and later found guilty of aggravated murder, kidnapping, sexual violations, and aggravated robbery.
When I first got locked up, I lied about everything. Said it was the TJ. There is no TJ. TJ is not real. I made a TJ up because I was trying to whip him away out of the crime. And I committed. But the only other thing I have to say is, please have mercy on me.
His reign of terror had finally come to an end. But for those who loved Reagan Tokes, the scars of this crime remain. In the aftermath of this event, we remember Reagan Tokes, a young woman whose life was cut tragically short.